Our next Wednesday evening Spirit greeting service is scheduled for August 11th. Everyone in attendance will receive a reading. We start at 6:30 p.m. and we go until everyone has been read. Cost is $20 a person, and we are limiting it to 20 people, so sign up early, and you can either do so through Facebook or through getting in touch with me. For all of my mediumship students who are part of that closed development circle, I say this every week, but I just want to remind you, don't forget to do your homework. It's very important. It really does help you to develop as a medium. And also, our next meeting will be August 28th at 6:30 p.m. For those who may not know, the air conditioning unit in the multipurpose room is not blowing cold air. The blower works, but it's blowing room temperature warm air. So if anybody would like to attempt to fix it, we would appreciate the help. Otherwise, we would be in need of an AC unit that's at least 9,000 BTUs in order to actually functionally cool that room. And that would be greatly appreciated, as it gets like a sauna in there. And that's also where our office is. But we would also like to, once COVID kind of dies down again, we would like to be able to have potlucks in there and we have some more events and things in that multipurpose room. For anyone who would like to rather provide their offering online as opposed to here at church, we do have a virtual offering plate that's available not only on our church's Facebook page, but also on the church's website as well. And anything that you can add to that is greatly appreciated. And now, if you would please bow your heads for the reading of our invocation this morning. Great Spiritualists, or Great Spirit, as Spiritualists, we gather here this day to renew our declaration to the principles upon which the religion of Spiritualism was founded. We pray that the spirit of tranquility descend upon this congregation, and that it will flow to our absent members and to all in need of prayer. We warmly welcome and give thanks for the presence of our Spirit family, friends, guides, and teachers. We give thanks for their closeness and desire to demonstrate the continuity of life and love. Amen. Now, I don't really see any new faces here today, so you all kind of already know what's coming, but the essence of what spiritualism is can be wrapped up in 9 statements. We call these statements our Declaration of Principles. At this time, I ask that you please open your hymnals to the front inside cover and join me in reading aloud our Declaration of Principles. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Yes, we do. All right. Now, at this time, we will begin the healing portion of our church service for today. And I will begin that portion of our service with the reading aloud of our list of absent friends who are in need of healing. And as always, after I finish reading from the list, if there is anyone that you would like me to add to the list, that you just say that person's first name aloud, and as I am reciting these names, and as you are saying the names of any loved ones that you have, I ask that the rest of the congregation please send those individuals as much love, as much healing as you possibly can. Lee, Diane, Bobby, Joshua, Sherry, Jordan, Jesse, Jeff, Gloria, Hank and Ruth, Barb, Gail, Penny, Joanne, Julie, Karen, Jamie, Jeff and family, Joanne, Jennifer, and Lori. Anyone have any names they'd like to add? Okay. If you could, please turn your hymnals to hymn number 174. We will be singing Wonderful Words of Life.
Mine not connected in.
Wasn't me. Don't feel bad, it's not you. I'll explain. Try again. Pardon me, everybody. Again, technical issues. Don't normally have these problems.
Your device is connected.
Hopefully.
Hymn number 174, Wonderful Words of Life.
There we go.
Little different arrangement than what we may be used to. Sing them over again to me, wonderful words of life. Let me more of their beauty see, wonderful words of life. Words of life and beauty, teach me faith and beauty. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. One more time.
Christ the blessed one gives to all wonderful words of life. Send this to the loving call, wonderful words of life. Also freely given, moving us to heaven. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we will conclude our healing portion of our church service by turning our hymnals to the back inside cover and reciting aloud together the prayer for spiritual healing. Looks like everybody's ready. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help, and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of Spirit. Amen. Okay. One moment, please. Your sermon for today will be given by yours truly. 1 second while I get ready. For a lot of people, this has been a very frustrating year, and I think a lot of you can relate to that. So many changes, so many things that may not have gone the way that people would have liked or expected. Because of this, I have actually been seeing a lot of people who are reacting in anger to just about everything in life lately. Because of all the angry people that I have seen, I thought it would be appropriate to begin today's sermon with a story about anger. Once upon a time, after all, doesn't every good story start that way? Once upon a time, there was a Zen master. The master would meet with people in his home in order to guide them on their paths and to also provide them with whatever wisdom that he could share with them. Every day, people from the village would line up outside the master's home, intent on speaking with him and listening to his guidance. And not just guidance on specific topics, but just guidance on life in general. So one day, this very important man from the community decided that he wanted to see why all these villagers were so quick to go and visit this so-called Zen master who lived outside of town. After all, why would they come see this guy who lived so simply and plainly instead of coming to him? Because, after all, he was so much more important. Why would they go to this other guy? So this man decides to make the walk out to the master's home and was surprised to find that people waited in line for hours to just spend a few moments of time with the master. So he gets in the back of the line, and after a very short while, he starts to get impatient. After all, why should he have to wait in line with all these common people when, he's obviously so much more important than they are? Losing his temper, the man forces his way past the rest of the villagers. They've all been standing there waiting patiently in line, and he just shoves his way past everybody. The man approaches the home of the master and doesn't even knock before entering. He slams the door open, steps in, slams the door behind him, kicks his shoes off, and then allows him to fly everywhere. Other people who are in the room quickly and fearfully leave. The only person who does not appear to be frightened by this angry man is the Zen master, who is calmly seated, just watching this interloper. As the man lifts his foot to enter the home, the Zen master raises his hand and commands the man to wait. The man is confused and asks, why should he wait to enter? Because first, you must ask forgiveness from the door and from your shoes. The man shakes his head and looks at the Zen master like he's completely lost his mind. Why would I do that? I heard that you so-called Zen masters were crazy, but I never believed it. Why would I want to do something as silly as beg forgiveness? Do you know how important I am? Why would I ever want to demean or embarrass myself by apologizing to my shoes? The Zen master pointed to the door and ordered the man to leave this house and never return. If you can be angry at shoes, why can't you ask forgiveness from them as well? When you were angry, you didn't see any problem relating to your shoes. You kicked them around the room. Why is forgiveness any different? When you slammed the door with such anger and violence, you related to it. You acted impulsively and without concern for the door. The door has done nothing to you, regardless of the relationship. Anger is not healthy in any situation. If you cannot apologize, then you do not come in. The man stared in silence at the master before fully understanding the importance of the wisdom that he had just received. Stunned, the man realized that he had been acting in anger with no regard for anyone or anything around him. He slowly retrieved his shoes, placed them gently on the floor, and then quietly knelt before them and asked forgiveness for his angry actions towards them. He then turns towards the door. As he gently put his hand on the door, tears fell from his face as the full realization of his actions hit him. The Zen master had taught him a lesson in those few seconds that that he had not learned in his entire life before that moment. He'd always reacted in anger to others and used intimidation to get his way. When faced with someone who was not intimidated, but who calmly pointed out his behavior and then held him accountable for his actions, the man saw that he was not the respected man of the village he had always thought himself to be. He was a bully who had frightened others into doing his bidding. The moral of the story? Both anger and love are infinite. It all depends on which one you choose to focus on. If you can be angry in any given situation, why can't you be loving? Be mindful of your thoughts and feelings because they will drive your actions. Now, I do think that at some point in our lives, all of us have been that man from the village. Am I right? If we're being honest with ourselves, we have all lost our temper at some point, and even if we don't want to admit it to ourselves or others, that is, for whatever reason, we lost control and lashed out. The important thing is how we reacted after we lost our temper. Did we react with love, with kindness and compassion? Not just towards others, but towards ourselves? I mean, we are only human after all. Don't forget that we are all here on earth for the purposes of learning and growth. While we are here, we are meant to learn, grow, strive, and thrive. Take a shot. So, how do you live your life? Are you angry and striving to control the people and situations around you? Or are you calm, cool, and collected? Are you being fire, seeking to burn things down? Or are you water, seeking to flow with a situation? As I have spoken about before, one of the main pieces of wisdom expressed every Sunday in these churches around the country is the advice of his guy Galen that he gave to Andrew Jackson Davis. It's become something of an unofficial motto for spiritualists, and I'm sure you all know exactly what I'm about to say, right? So feel free to say it with me. In all things, keep an even mind. Yup. I know that for quite a few of us, those really are words to live by. We put quite a bit of focus in our daily intention into living those words and becoming the living embodiment of that phrase, not letting ourselves become too frustrated or angry in any situation. Others of us seem to be a bit more interested in living life like the man at the beginning of our story. It has been my experience of late that more and more people are getting fired up and angry. And they are acting as though they're content to just bully their way through life. How many of us can relate to that? I mean, I'm sure we all know someone who's that way. So, what do you do when you have someone in your life who's always very angry, always quick to lose their temper, and slow to calm? Well, that kind of all depends on the situation you're in, to be honest. Depending on the relationship that you have with that person, it will make a difference as to how you might want to approach them. First off, when it comes to dealing with other people, you cannot fight fire with fire. You cannot fight anger with anger. Remember that. Do not try and reach an angry person by becoming angry yourself. All you're going to succeed in doing is escalating an already difficult situation. And really, to be honest, that's not a productive way to interact with anyone. Unless, of course, you yourself are trying to be a drama llama, and then it's the perfect way to interact with somebody. But anyway, first off, when confronted by someone who is angry or trying to bully you, and you're really not all that invested in the situation, there's nothing wrong with just removing yourself from that situation. In other words, just leave. If you have nothing to gain by staying around when someone is being angry, belligerent, or acting like a bully, why would you stay? Just throwing it out there. If you're in a situation where it's not really appropriate for you to leave, you can choose to approach them in the same way that the Zen master approached the angry man in our story. And honestly, I find that approach for me actually does work quite well, actually. Essentially, what you want to do is maintain a strong emotional and spiritual boundary with the person while you also remain like a bottle of water, calm and unable to be shaken up, matter of fact and unruffled. That's not to say that you may not need to raise your voice occasionally in order to get their attention, but that is different from losing your temper. This same method of remaining calm and matter of fact about things, it actually does work with people close to you as well. In my experience, the only time to raise your voice is to get that person's attention enough to listen. If you yourself start yelling and carrying on, all you're doing is making the other person more upset as well. And, that works every time, right? Doesn't it? You both start yelling and screaming and everything just automatically works out perfectly, doesn't it? Yeah. It does every time, I'm telling you. Anyhow, what if you are now just realizing that you yourself have anger issues? Now what? Do you shut yourself away somewhere in a mountaintop retreat until you are able to keep calm and carry on? You can if you really want to, but unless you're having that much trouble maintaining an even temperament, you can pretty easily train yourself out of that mindset of anger. Should you choose to. We all have the free will to decide where we go from any given moment. Now, here's a couple of ways that work quite easily, and they really do. First, when you are in a situation and someone is getting to you, whether it be intentionally or not, quite simply, just walk away. Disengage yourself. Give some physical space. Tell the other person that you need a minute. If they try and follow you, just scream at them, "You're being a difficult person," and then walk away. I can pretty much guarantee you they're going to go and stay where they are. No, I'm just kidding. If you are in a situation where you cannot walk away, then practice the pause. Someone is getting on your nerves and you just want to unload on them so badly. Anything from a rude comment all the way up to a physical reaction. Stop. Take a deep breath. Take a dozen deep breaths, depending on the amount of anger that you are carrying. Let the time you are breathing help you to think of something else to say and do besides lashing out, especially physically. If you like, you can diffuse the situation a bit by adding something to the effect of, please hold. And use this finger, not any others. Then breathe. Let the other person know that you are doing your best to react differently than you may have reacted in the past. It will help them to react differently as well. I want you to think of it this way. Everybody hears that phrase that communication is key, right? We all know that, right? Yes, communication may be key. However, comprehension is the lock. Both work in harmony to help unlock a relationship of any kind. It doesn't matter how much you communicate with someone if they do not understand what it is that you are telling them. It works both ways. You must both be willing to communicate and listen to each other's points of view. This is your reminder, though, that just because you understand someone's point of view does not necessarily mean you are obligated to agree with it. Just, again, throwing that out there for you. Also, because we are in a material world and we are material girls, I'm going to give you a great visual representation to help you when you are trying to overcome any anger issues you may have. Keep yourself a jar. Get a jar and put a penny, a quarter, $1, whatever you can afford into the jar every time you feel yourself really losing your temper. And if you are being truly honest with yourself, you will be amazed at how quickly that jar will fill up at first. Over time, as you start to get better at catching that Hulk smash feeling, you'll find the jar doesn't fill up nearly so quickly. If you want to be really fancy about it, here's what you do. You can put a different denomination of cash in every time you lose your temper, or every time you do or say something, and base it on the severity. So for example, a penny if you grunted in frustration at someone, $1 if you slammed a door, etc. I mean, it's all a matter of retraining how you react to situations that may stress you out. Just remember, it's a process. We are all a work in progress. Now, speaking of, I do feel the need to mention that if you are in a situation where you are not feeling safe, especially if it is in your own home, do not forget that there are resources at your disposal. Now, what can I possibly mean by that? I mean that if someone in your home, or even if someone in some other area of your life makes you fear for your safety in some way, there are people who can help. In addition to, obviously, the police, not only are there agencies that specialize in helping people to remove them from a difficult situation, but some of these agencies can also help facilitate the paperwork that will help you feeling more safe and secure as well. You are not alone. Help is available. I, your Pastor Mark, right up here, I am here to help you. And if for whatever reason you do not feel comfortable coming to me with any kind of an issue such as that, we do have trained members of our church who can also help you to leave a situation that you feel threatened in. Your fellow Christabelle sunflowers, they're here for you. I'm here for you. Also, if you are someone who now recognizes your own anger issues, please know that we are here to help you as well. Regardless of the cause of your anger, you too can learn to be a much more happy, even-minded person. It really just requires a bit of consistent focus for us all to find that center point of balance within ourselves. A bit of meditation, a dash of breathing. Add in some humility, and you have the recipe for a happy, calm, peaceful person. As you go forth this week, be mindful of your own thoughts, words, and actions. Remember that your thoughts become your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your life. Maintain positive, peaceful thoughts. Follow those thoughts with empowering words and actions. Those actions will lead you to a much more positive set of happy experiences. And those experiences, they will culminate in a much happier, peaceful, more productive life. Thank you. At this time, I ask that our usher please come forward for the collection of the offering. And I do appreciate the undivided attention everyone gave during that sermon. It is very much appreciated. If you could please, let us bow our heads in prayer. Infinite Spirit, we give thanks for these gifts so generously given. Without these gifts, we cannot grow. We ask a blessing for what is shared with us today, and a special blessing for the givers. May they continue seeing the law of abundance in their lives. We dedicate these gifts to the future of our church and to spiritualism. Amen. Oh, I thought I did. right. And now we will be beginning the spirit greeting portion of our church service for today. Before we do that, we will be singing a hymn to help raise the vibration of the chapel, to let Spirit know that we're ready for them, that we're ready to communicate. So at this time, if you could please, I'm going to ask that we stand to help raise the vibration of the chapel a little bit. And we will be singing hymn number 140, Peace Like a River.
Like a river, I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul.
Come on, belt it out.
I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace, yes I've got peace, yes I've got peace.
Thank you, everybody. You may be seated. That was fun. Okay. Now, thank you, everybody. Now, as a student medium, I always feel so disingenuous, and I say that every week, but if any of the messages that I gave from the platform today, if any of those messages resonated with you, if you could please fill out a mediumship affidavit form at the very back of the chapel. It does help me to become a certified medium, to become a licensed minister, which is close to both of them. So if you would very much help me out. At this time, I will turn the page so I make sure I have the order correctly. Our closing hymn for today will be number 120, right in the corner. So if you could please turn your hymnals to hymn number 120. And I will give you a heads up. This is a different rendition of it. It's the same lyrics, but you'll find it's a nice, fun, upbeat tune. This particular one happens to be by Miss Ella Fitzgerald. So I just playing with the music today.
Do not wait until some deed of greatness you may do. Do not wait to shed your light afar. To the many duties ever near you now be true. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are. Trust in the corner where you are. Just above clouded skies that you may help to clear. Don't let selfishness your way detour. Though into one heart alone may fall your sorrow cheer. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are.
Even if you're not comfortable singing, just bop along.
Here for all your talent, you may surely find a need. You reflect the bright and morning star. Even from your humble hand, the bread of life may feed. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone from the hunger you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you
All right, thank you, everybody. I know, I'm ridiculous. At this time, please bow your heads for our closing benediction. We close this service with the deepest gratitude for this day. We ask a blessing on all who have taken time to join us today. May we be ever learning, ever moving forward beyond the errors of the past, and knowing we have an endless supply of new beginnings. Amen. This concludes our Christabelle Spiritualist Church service for today. Thank you all, and remember, brighten the corner where you are. Have a great week ahead.